New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science with Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
Welcome to Divine Science Everywhere on New Thought Media Network. Divine Science Everywhere presents divine science ministers and other New Thought guests discussing divine science, principles, and practice of divine science. I'm Reverend Joy Fletcher, and I'm so happy that you could join us today. This is our 30th episode. Remarkable. One of the ways that I express ministry is through the Divine Science Ministers Association. And I'm a hospice bereavement coordinator, and I offer grief support groups, as well as I do individual grief counseling and provide education about end of life and self-care for caregivers. And my co-host today is Reverend Jeff Radcliffe.
Hey y'all, Reverend Jeff here, and happy to be here. You'll see me along with Reverend Joy every week right here this time, and you'll also find me on New Thought Media Network in the evening when Friday night fireside chat with Reverend Michael Mangus. So I get on there and cause lots of shenanigans. I'm very good here. And you'll also notice that it's just Reverend Joy and me today. Bishop Durrell decided that he had something else that he needed to do. He didn't just decide to just dump it, but he kind of sort of did because he scripts out our show for us. And so we had to do that ourselves today. So we're just taking over his role. We don't even need him, Joy. Do you know that?
But I miss him.
Yeah, we ought to have him back. He'll be back next week. He's got to be back next week because he will be our guest next week. And I'm also excited to talk about our other guests later on. But right now, we're going to do things just the way we always do it with Reverend Joy and a centering moment.
Thank you. And today, a little bit in a nod to our guest, who we will talk with in a minute. It's about melody of the heart as well as gratitude. So let's take a gentle breath together and allow this moment to open, to consciously open the awareness of the divine presence that is within us as well as around us and moves and operates through us and through all. As we breathe in, we welcome the rhythm of life itself, the divine melody, and the presence moving through every single heartbeat. As we breathe out, let's release all that has clouded our awareness and instead focus on the melody of the heart, a song of gratitude that is always there beneath the world of the noise of the world. And that includes in our own individual lives. It's important to remember that even in the midst of the appearance and what sometimes can feel so challenging, the chaos and noise of our own individual lives, as well as interactions with everyone, within that are seeds. In fact, the very presence, the omnipresence of divine peace, the rhythm and melody of perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. And for that, we are grateful. And gratitude is the natural harmony of the soul that recognizes its alignment with the truth of omnipresence, of love, of light, of peace, harmony, wholeness, substance, and supply. It does not depend upon circumstance, nor does it wait for perfection. It simply is. The inner recognition that the divine good is the source and substance of all that is. And when we cultivate this gratitude, we attune ourselves to this divine rhythm, transforming even the most discordant notes of daily life into a higher harmony of understanding and peace. And the more we focus on gratitude, the more we experience it, the more we see it, the more it is manifest into our own lives. Melinda Elliott Kramer, the founder of Divine Science and author of Divine Science and Healing, states, when we recognize that all good is now, we enter into the consciousness of gratitude, and our hearts resonate with this melody of heaven on earth. Let these words echo through your awareness. Gratitude is not an emotion, but a state of being. And it's a consciousness we practice and live and express. Ask yourself, what am I grateful for in this moment? What am I grateful for in this moment? Is it the chair that you're sitting in? The ground you may be standing or sitting on? Is it the ability to have the gifts of seeing and hearing and tasting and speaking and feeling and experiencing? It's so important to not take those things for granted. Are you grateful for the awareness of the presence and power of this omnipresence always with you? A divine companion, if you will, that's always with you. In fact, it also is your very essence. Nona Brooks has said, gratitude is the open door to the inflow of the divine. The grateful heart is the harmonized heart. Gratitude is a continual communion, a conscious alignment with the divine. Every thank you whispered in faith strengthens the unseen cords connecting us with divine love. And every single act of appreciation becomes a note of healing outward, blessing all creation, and comes back to us tenfold. So take a moment to affirm to yourself, my heart is a melody of gratitude. Every breath I take is a song of praise to the infinite good. I am attuned to the harmony of divine love, and I give thanks in all, through all, as all. So as this moment, the centering moment, draws to a close, take with you this experience of peace, of strong connection to the divine. Carry with you the melody of gratitude, that living, loving song of omnipresence. Divine science principle is everywhere, and love made visible. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Joy. I can see, I am always amazed at just how calming and soothing your voice, just seems to temper everything within me if there's some inner turmoil going on. Just hearing you is awesome. And I can see why this is Bishop Jarrell's favorite part of our show is hearing you do that.
Okay.
You have just returned from the DSMA-SFI retreat, the joint retreat. So how was it? Tell us about it.
Oh, it was glorious. There were 12 of us, 11 of us. One person, unfortunately, wasn't able to come. And we had individuals from both organizations and as well as a few other people that are associated with those individuals. And it's great. We ate dinner together every night. We met for socialization before supper every night. And we enjoyed a presentation by Reverend Patricia Wagner, one of our divine science ministers, and she presented the divine two-step and really expressed the importance of gratitude. And then we had a nice discussion about the two organizations and different ideas that we have that we would like to promote and continue forward. It was so nice that there were times here. This ship is huge, 20 decks.
Wow.
And one afternoon or one day, my husband and I had scheduled an excursion, and it just didn't work out for us to go that morning. So we went to lunch down at the buffet, and while I was getting our food, one of our colleagues, Susan Cerudis, saw me and started talking, and then she joined us, and we visited, and then we decided to move out into the beautiful sunshine, enjoy the ocean breeze. It was just delightful. And then as I went back in, I believe to get ice cream for my husband, I ran into someone else that was part of our group. And they were getting their lunch or whatever. And he said, well, you know what? We're going to join you. So they ended up joining us at this table outside. And then while we were sitting there, two more of our colleagues just happened to come through and sat with us. So we had this most delightful visit about all sorts of things. And here, that's marvelous how such a huge ship, we were on the same deck and cross paths at the exact time. It was just delightful. And it's also an important message about omnipresence,
Absolutely.
Yes.
And ports of call. I know that you stopped a couple of places.
Nassau, and then Ocean Cay, which is a marine reserve, and that's the private island of the cruise company. We found out on the excursion there that it's actually the initials MSC is Mediterranean Shipping Containers. But anyway, they built these beautiful cruise ships. It was stunning. The glass everywhere, and wonderful shows and music and food and entertainment, and just lots and lots of things to do. And on the island, it's just stunning how we heard the story about how they developed the island. The company purchased it from another company that had been doing mining on that particular island, and they transformed it into this most wonderful, beautiful island that is a marine preserve, as I said, and pointed out there's certain areas where different species of turtles come and lay their eggs at certain seasons. Another area where migrating birds stop there. Some of them may lay their eggs there or just on their way to winter destination, ranging from falcons to owls to a whole host of other birds that they mentioned. Lots of flowers. There's an outdoor wedding channel. In fact, we even saw somebody in a golf cart that was seated at the back of it with "just married" sign under it, and that was really nice. And beautiful beaches, opportunity to scuba dive or snorkel if you wanted, just lays out on the beach. It was really, really beautiful and relaxing.
It sounds awesome.
It was. And we missed all of you.
Yeah, I could tell by that flurry of text messages that I got from you. And what's funny was I considered saying, sending you a text saying, how's it going? Or are you having fun or something like that? And I thought, I'm not going to mess up her retreat. I'm just going to leave her to rest and relax and rejuvenate. And it sounds like you had just that exact experience. It sounds awesome.
Thank you. Yes, we all did, and it was a 5-day, and I think the majority of us feel like a little bit longer would be, even better. Because, you kind of just start to get into the groove after a while when you have busy lives and then turn around and travel. However, that's not dismissing what a great time we had. It was really, really wonderful and special.
Well, maybe, who knows? There could be a longer one in the future someday.
We were talking about that, and stay tuned. And anyone can attend, because divine science is everywhere.
Exactly.
Yes.
And speaking of which, we probably need to take a break. We have got a really exciting guest today, and we'll get to him as soon as we take a short break. This is Divine Science Everywhere, as you know, on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
What would Louise say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. With Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
Welcome back. Divine Science Everywhere, New Thought Media Network. And in case you didn't catch a good glimpse of this, deeply we are one. It's my New Thought Media Network mug. So, okay, we are going to be, I'm sorry, I've got to move something around over here. Our guest today is Reverend Sean O'Shea. Spent decades immersed in New Thought teachings. He's a keyboardist and singer-songwriter. He was interviewed by Charles Gibson and Diane Sawyer live on ABC's Good Morning America, twice opened for author Wayne Dyer, who became a personal mentor. Sean was also the music ministry director at the Center for Spiritual Living in Nashville for several years, and he's been an active friend and supporter of Unity for over 20 years. And in July of 2022, and we'll get more into this later, Sean was ordained in divine science. and he's based in Cookeville, Tennessee, and he often travels with his wife, Laurie, who is one of my favorite people. She is adorable. She's his favorite performing songwriter, he says. And they offer musical coffeehouse style concerts and workshops together based on a book that Sean is in the process of finishing up called 7 Spiritual People Skills for Living an Extraordinary Life. And Sean has been living that life. Welcome to Divine Science Everywhere, Sean.
Thank you, my friends. Thanks for the invitation. It's nice to be with you.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things that I found when I came to Tennessee from West Virginia that has meant the most to me are the friendships that I've met since I've been here. We've also got weather moving through, so Lily might act up a little. But when I moved to Nashville, I found Sean and Laurie, and I found Reverend Dr. Ken Stewart, and these have been wonderful friends for me, and I'm adoring it. Lily, baby, come over here and sit with Jeffy. Come here.
Sure, blame the dog.
Yeah. You want to jump up with me? Jump. There we go.
There we go.
Princess Lily wanted to say hey, but I didn't realize that when I came down here in 2013 that you and I were going to end up in Tim's classroom,
Right.
taking classes to be ordained in divine science. And you and I were ordained together in Chicago in 2022.
Correct.
So, but you were in New Thought for a long time before that. So how'd you find it in the first place? New Thought is it's all around, but not everybody's aware of it.
You're right. Well, I didn't know what to call it at the time, Jeff. I was in sales as a probably late teen, 19, 20 years old or so. And this older man that was in business with me gave me a book called The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. And it was the first time I read something that suggested how I believed and my attitude and all those things actually had power. And it was my first glimpse into that kind of thinking that, gosh, maybe some of this crap I'm going through, I can take some responsibility for. And so that was a game changer for me, just that one book. And it certainly is a classic in reviewing the power of our minds and intention setting. From there, I was thirsty. You know how that is. You guys, you pick up one book and opens your eyes about something, and then you get thirsty for more. And now I want to read this by this person, and I want to listen to this podcast, and all this sort of thing. Of course, back then there were not podcasts, but I was certainly thirsty for more books, which led me to Wayne Dyer. And the first Wayne Dyer book was a gift from a friend, and it was called Real Magic. Up until that point, reading a book was really a struggle for me. I was thirsty for the information, but I found reading and digesting any book was really exhausting. I have a very short attention span and would just get cross-eyed after a page or two. The exception was Wayne Dyer, because reading his pages was much like just engaging in a casual conversation with a good friend. And so I found it to be a very easy read. I would be sitting up reading 2 or 3 chapters at a time, which was very unusual for me. And I was so excited about the book and the effect it had on my life that I have bought, probably dozens, probably at this point 30 or more copies of that book to just give to people that I felt needed it. And of course, Wayne led me to all the Hay House books and Deepak Chopra, and the list goes on and on. So it's, I thought as a young teen that I was going to be a ballistics detective. That was my career path. And, about mid-teens, when I started getting interested in the pretty girls in my class, I realized they were more into the guys that played piano or were acting in the plays than they were some guy digging bullets out of terrible places. And I can only imagine what a different person I would be had I spent the last 30 or 40 years doing that latter task instead of trying to help people find light in their lives. So I'm grateful for the shift that music, offered me back then.
And you were playing before, then, right? I mean,
Yes.
It wasn't the reason you picked you started to play the piano was, oh, the girls like it.
Well, right? I was already playing, but just, it never occurred to me that might be something I would do for a living. And, things evolved in that vein as well. As an entertainer and a professional musician, I found that I was becoming more comfortable sharing stories about the songs, or maybe a little bit more about what the song meant to be. Or in the case of my original songs, what the song was about and why I wrote it. And a number of comments started to surface from people who followed my music career. Things like, wow, I'd like to hear more about what you have to say. Or could you expound on that a little bit? And of course, the one comment that kept coming up over the years was, wow, you should write a book. You've had so many crazy experiences and lessons that have come out of this. You should write a book. And finally, probably way too long ago, I took that seriously and started penning a book, which took a lot of crazy turns and twists and turns, and thankfully is finally on the home stretch now, but it's been embarrassingly long time coming.
Well, it's a lengthy process.
It is painfully lengthy process in my case. So
and now you're not from here originally.
I am not.
I'm not from here originally either, but I'm a little more from here than you are.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. You are not a Yank. I am absolutely.
I would say, and I wouldn't even call you that, but I would say that you were from up north.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
So
I sure am. I was from pretty close to Boston, so and spent a lot of my time, professional time, career time in New York City. So I think I'm more of a New Yorker than a New Englander.
But how'd you get to Nashville?
Well,
like Carnegie Hall, you practice?
I about the time that my first marriage did not work out and I was sworn that I would be a bachelor the rest of my life, I met this lovely lady and fell head over heels in love. And turns out she is a wonderful singer-songwriter. And so we made a pact to support each other's quest to get even better at that. And where better to do that than Nashville, Tennessee? Mm-hmm. So with the blessings of my daughters, we headed down to Nashville, Tennessee in 2003 to pursue that. And God, have learned so much. And while there, we went church shopping. We really wanted to find a spiritual home. And we went to a lot of different churches. I would say, let's call it traditionalist churches. And I won't say which ones, in particular, but I will tell you there were a lot of casseroles involved, okay, for meet and greet time. So I'll just leave it at that. But one day I was thinking about the church. See, I had a lady who was like a second mom to me. Her name was Ann Erickson. And Ann never had kids, but she told me that if she had ever had a son, that would be me.
Oh.
And sorry, I didn't know that memory was going to choke me up quite the way it did, but she was just an amazing lady and a wonderful presence in my life. Except early on, when she started about talking all this God stuff, I believed she was in a cult because she subscribed to this weird little magazine that started coming to my house called Daily Word, which of course is that wonderful little publication from Unity, but I didn't know what to make of it the first couple times I saw it. So I was very familiar with Unity, and I asked her a lot more about it, and unfortunately never set foot in a Unity church until she passed away. of the same exact, very rare and aggressive cancer that my mom died of almost exactly 365 days earlier. So I lost my real mom in 99, and I lost my second mom in 2000, almost to the day. But when we got to Nashville, I discovered that there was a very big Unity church on Franklin Road. And I went. And Laurie had enough. She was just, no, I'm going to set this one out. I'm going to wait at home. I went on my own, and oh my goodness, the music was over the top. The speakers were dynamic. Everyone was so warm and welcoming, and it was all about positivity and you are welcome here. And then at the end, they brought in all these children just strutting in. We are walking as the light, strutting in. I'm bawling. They finished off the service with "Let There Be Peace on Earth," with everybody singing and holding hands, and I'm just weeping. And I got home and I said, Laurie, I am sure that I have found our church. And so my involvement with Unity and that particular Unity church has been a real big, important thing to me.
And now you're based in Cookeville, Tennessee. But,
I am.
But you do a lot of traveling to different churches in the areas for speaking and workshops and things. And Laurie almost always accompanies you. I don't think there's any place that I know that you're going that she's not going with you.
When it is possible, we love to be together, and it's especially gratifying when it's the kind of weekend where she can also shine her talents. She's very supportive of my speaking or my playing and that sort of thing. But my favorite gigs are the ones where we'll go into a town maybe we haven't been before. On Saturday night, we'll do a coffee house style concert, almost like a miniature Bluebird Cafe presentation, dueling pianos and the whole bit, right? And then on Sunday morning, I'll do the message, but Laurie and I will maybe share musical responsibilities. Then break, meet with the congregation and leadership and all, and then host a workshop on my upcoming, long overdue book called Spiritual People Skills. And we'll do a workshop on honing one's spiritual people skills. So that's a very fulfilling and rewarding weekend. And it's so great to watch her shine her light so brightly.
And you mentioned Bluebird Cafe. And for folks who aren't in the know, the Bluebird is famous in Nashville. A lot of upcoming artists perform there. A lot of established artists go and perform maybe some of their new music that they haven't released on an album yet. And what's funny is I'm revisiting as a binge watch the show Nashville.
Oh, yes.
And they feature the Bluebird quite frequently. And you were actually in a crowd scene.
Yes.
At one of those. Do you remember which episode that was? Because I'm only in season 3 right now. So I'm trying, and I've been looking for you, but I haven't seen you yet. So
I don't remember which season and episode that was, Jeff. I wrote it down somewhere, but yeah, I'm right in the front row at the Bluebird watching the character Avery do a song. And somebody asked, can anyone cry on demand? And well, what was funny was while I was watching him perform, I was getting really teary-eyed. So I said to the director, I said, I'm not sure I can cry on demand, but I can tell you, if you need somebody to cry while he's singing, I'm sure I can help you out. And so, they were looking for folks who were really genuinely moved by what they were hearing. And that didn't require any acting skills on my part.
Reverend Joy.
Yes, thank you.
What do you have for Sean?
Well, it's sometimes I think individuals' entry point into New Thought is unity. And then at some point they discover other New Thought teachings. And I'm just wondering how you discovered divine science.
Great question.
Probably the same way I did.
No doubt. Well, Unity, of course, just the whole path that even brought me to Unity left me open to learning about anything and everything that was around me, including things from traditional faiths. And my wife, Laurie, was raised in a Jewish home, the Jewish faith. And they always had what they call a Hanukkah tree, which is a Christmas tree with a Star of David up on top, right? Just a mix of faiths, which is really kind of cool. And we still celebrate that, our Hanukkah event today. And so I got known for doing music. That was my thing. That's what I was known as, a singer-songwriter. And I played in the band at Unity on Franklin Road. And I also, Laurie and I hosted a coffee house, which is like a singer-songwriter event there at the property. So I got to know most of the people involved in music. And I got friendly with the folks over at what was then known as Religious Science of Nashville. Mm-hmm. And I got to know all those folks and had visited many times. And they have then, of course, morphed over into being known as Center for Spiritual Living Nashville. Mm-hmm. And we would often sneak over into their services, and we would go about a half an hour early to watch the band rehearse. Which was kind of a no-no, but I snuck in anyway. They let me watch the rehearsals. And they'd just be rehearsing, and I'd be jumping up to my feet, clapping. They were just a stupendous band. One thing led to another, and there were shifts going on. And that music director decided to move to Florida. And one of the board members, who was sitting right in front of us in the pew in front of us, got up on her knees and spun around and leaned over and said, "Hey, would you be interested in being our music director?" Mm-hmm. Now, I got to tell you, I was thoroughly and sincerely intimidated by that idea, because these were musicians who were and are absolutely A-list players. I mean, volunteers in that band, guys, were members of Foghat, the founding member of the band Orleans. Some of the finest players and singers I'd ever imagined. And the fact that I was once or twice over the course of my time there invited to make a presentation on that platform with those people was already overwhelming. I actually got to be standing up there on the same stage as them. But now I'm being asked to be the director? No! That was thoroughly intimidating. I hardly even read a note of music, okay? So there was no way. But Reverend Tim Stewart, who was the assistant minister then, and Dr. Mitch Johnson, the lead minister there, invited me to lunch to talk more about this, even though I had expressed my doubts about my abilities. And after about a 90-minute lunch, I just leaned across the table and I said, "I'm sorry, guys. It's a definite no. And I want you to know I'm grateful for this. I think it would be the opportunity of a lifetime, but I can't do this." They disappointedly accepted that, and we moved on. The next day I was working at home, and Reverend Tim Stewart gave me a call and said, "Hey, I'm going to be in your neighborhood in about a half an hour, and I wondered if I could pop in and just talk to you for a couple minutes." Well, sure. And as I hung up, it occurred to me that there's no way Tim Stewart is going to be in my neighborhood for any reason whatsoever. But okay, fine. So Tim came in, and it was after half an hour of him going on and on about how important it was that they hired somebody with leadership skills more than musical skills. They wanted someone with leadership skills and with the ability to see things for what they could become. That spoke to me. That made sense to me. And I made a pot of coffee, and we drank that whole pot of coffee. And then about an hour after that, Tim obviously was not leaving, despite all my hints of, "Well, thanks for coming, Tim. I'll think about it." Blah, blah. He was still not going. We were both hungry. I made us sandwiches. I put on another pot of coffee. After seriously, like 4 hours of him just boom, boom, boom. You need to do this. I said, fine. I will come do your music director thing for 90 days until you can find someone. He said, great, welcome aboard, And so just as he suspected, I fell in love with the role and stayed for 3.5 years before I knew it was time to move on.
Right.
I was interested in becoming a Unity minister. There were a lot of hurdles. Back then, there was something called field licensing.
Mm-hmm.
And Reverend Denise Yergin, who's a dear friend of mine, who's a Unity minister in Nashville, had offered to be my sponsor in field licensing and to take me through the whole process. And she said, you ought to go out to this adorable little church in Cookeville, Tennessee. Those of you who can picture the map, if you take Route 40 between Nashville and Knoxville, Cookeville's right smack in between the two of them. Okay? It's on the same time zone as Nashville, but right smack in the middle. So about an hour and a half out of Nashville. And go there because they're without a minister and they're having guest speakers. I said, well, how does that help me become a Unity minister? She said, well, that's the thing. If you go there, I want you to make them fall in love with you and invite you back. And then you go there regularly, and then they're going to ask you to become their spiritual leader. And once you are their spiritual leader for 1 year, I then will be empowered to enroll you in the field licensing program. And within about 3 years, you'll become an officially ordained Unity minister. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I followed all those instructions. Everything was going really, really well. And they decided to hire someone else. So that plan fizzled out. And while that plan was still being formulated, the Unity thing changed and that field licensing process is no longer valid. So I did find that I was thirsty to become an ordained minister, somehow a new thought. So I looked at CSL as an option because I was certainly very close to the CSL church in Nashville. They unfortunately didn't recognize any of my study or any of my previous credentials. And Unity was much the same way. So I was going to have to start everything all over again, pretty much. And then our friend, Tim Stewart, once again stepped up and said, in divine science, we do consider not only the credentials you've gotten from other organizations, but we consider your life experience. Mm-hmm. All of your life experience counts. Now, of course, we want you to understand divine science really well, and we do. There's required reading, and so, within just a few years of really hard work and diligent study, I was able to go ahead and be officially ordained in divine science, along with my classmate here.
Mm-hmm. And Joy, and those who are watching who know Reverend Dr. Tim Stewart know that he is very difficult to say no to.
You're right about that.
And he gave you the same spiel about becoming a divine science minister that he gave me. I think he's got it memorized.
Yeah. Now, Jeff, I'll point out that you were already ordained.
I was ordained in another metaphysical organization. Yeah.
Yep.
So this was my first official New Thought ordination.
Gotcha.
Probably going to be my only official New Thought ordination.
Good deal. Okay. So that's, in a nutshell, that's how this came to be. And there wasn't a pulpit to be taken. And yet, really, I found you need to understand that sitting at the piano and playing and singing and emoting in that way brings great joy to me. So knowing that and understanding that, when I say to you that if someone said to me, you could be a full-time speaker minister, but you'd have to give up the music, I would probably take that deal. So that's how much I have fallen in love with delivering the spoken word, the teachings. But as fate would have it, I don't have to give up playing music or singing or writing music. I bring both to the table. And my favorite services are the ones where I am not only delivering the message, but delivering it musically as well, like a sermon in song type of a thing. So those are some of my favorite gigs.
Great, great. So I've heard you sing at different events, and I was moved by the song about "Must Be Somebody's Baby." Would you like to tell us about that?
Oh, thank you. I'll definitely look, keeping an eye on the time here. I'll give you very much the Reader's Digest pamphlet version of the story behind that song. I was unknowingly very sick with undiagnosed Graves' disease, and things started shifting for me. You know, that what I thought was a horrible thing to happen to me was a great gift. And things shifted for me tremendously. And I was in Worcester, Massachusetts, and I drove past on a pretty hot summer day. I was a woman in a long woolen coat pushing a shopping cart out into traffic. She obviously was either intoxicated or perhaps mentally ill. And at first I was like most of the other drivers, a little annoyed. Why don't they do something with those people? Blah, 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 that grumpy curmudgeon attitude. And as I got by her, I had what Wayne Dyer would have called satori, the Buddhist term for instant awakening. And I knew, and I want to underline that word, I knew, which is very different than I thought about or I wondered or I imagined. I knew how it would have been if that were my youngest daughter, who was then under 2 years old. That were her. And 40 years had passed and I'm gone. And who knows what happened to her? Mental illness? Drug abuse? What difference does it make? That was somebody's child. And I wept. I had to pull the car over. I just wept. And my musical duo partner at the time, Rick Schoening, of Schoening and O'Shea, I conveyed this story to him. He said, oh my God, it's mind-blowing, amazing. I said, yes, we need to write a song called Somebody's Child. And we tried. We tried force-feeding a song. You know, we're just going to make this happen. We need it. Nothing, not weeks and weeks. Nothing but garbage coming out of me, and forced and insincere. And I had been waking up late at night, almost at 3 a.m. almost every night. And it was getting to me. It was really bugging me now because I was tired and I needed sleep. But this night was different. I woke up and I felt a warm presence and I felt very calm and comfortable and happy. And I looked at my clock and it went 2:59, flick, 3:00. And I sat straight up and I said, what? And I heard, it's time. And I went to my keyboard and I put on my headphones so I didn't wake up the kids. And this song was handed to me. And it's called Somebody's Child. And it is certainly on the list of motivating factors that brought me to Nashville. It had a close call with Amy Grant on one of her albums, but ended up, getting passed up. And it's certainly a song that packs a wallop still, even today. So,
Somebody's
thank you.
Child is incredibly touching. It's incredibly beautiful. Is it available out for people to find? Is it on YouTube maybe or someplace?
It might be. I hate to sound stupid this way, but if you type in Sean O'Shea, Somebody's Child, you're apt to find it somewhere somehow.
Yeah.
And also I should point out that the record label or the site where Laurie and I specifically are touting our musical offerings is at Sing Spirit, SINGSPIRIT.net. Singspirit.net. Laurie's whole new album can be listened to right there. And it is
Awesome.
Fabulous.
Well, Sean, thank you so much for coming and talking to us.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, we're going to take just a real brief break, and we'll be back. And Reverend Joy's got a little bit of information to close out the show with. So we
Wonderful.
will be right back. This is Divine Science Everywhere on New Thought Media Network.
What if the person you think you are is just a fraction of who you truly are? What if years of conditioning and surviving in a challenging world have left you clinging to strategies and beliefs that mask your truest nature? I'm Catherine Duca, psychotherapist and self-esteem coach, and you're listening to Who Do You Think You Are? A show that looks beneath our psychological masks and uncovers our profoundly messy, beautiful, brilliant, tender-hearted essence. Join me as we go in search of the hidden power of our true selves. I'm so glad you're here.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. With Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliffe, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
Welcome back to another very fast hour that we spent together. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, in the next 2 weeks, I and our two co-hosts are going to talk about various divine science principles from some of our books, our divine science books. And the first, and Friday after Thanksgiving will be a replay. And then on December 5th, we're excited because Reverend Bishop Durrell Watkins will be the featured guest. And we're excited about that. And we have some great things to finish out the year. And we have a wonderful year planned ahead. So please do keep coming back and like and share and spread the good news on social media and to those that you care about. It's Divine Science Everywhere on New Thought Media Network. Remember that divine science is in all, through all, and as all. Until next week, farewell.
Bye, y'all.